Good day, children. Welcome to the next class of electrolysis. In our last class, we discussed the preferential discharge of ions. Now here we are going to study about the electrolysis of copper sulfate using different electrodes. That means we will see how is the electrolysis product different when we use an inert electrode and when we use an active electrode. So the nature of electrodes is a very important factor which influences the process of electrolysis. So here we are going to take one inert electrode which is made up of platinum and one active electrode which is made up of copper. The process is the electrolysis of copper sulfate. So acidified aqueous copper sulfate solution is taken in the electrolyte. The electrolytic cell is made up of glass and we have two electrodes. First we will talk about the inert electrode. So these are the electrodes which are made up of platinum. The one connected to the positive terminal is the anode. The one connected to the negative terminal is the cathode. Now the first thing we are going to write is the overall reaction. When we are writing the overall reaction, children, you have to keep in mind that whatever is in the electrolyte, everything is going to dissociate. So we first talk about acidified. Acidified means H2SO4. H2SO4 is going to dissociate into H ion and sulfate ion. Similarly, aqueous means water. Water is going to dissociate into H ions and OH ions. And copper sulfate is also going to dissociate into copper ions and sulfate ions. Now, out here on the cathode, we have a choice between hydrogen and copper. Out of these two, copper happens to be down in the reactivity series. So on the cathode, copper ions, which are going to be here 2 plus, they are going to be attracted towards the cathode and they are going to discharge over the cathode. Now this solution is blue in color because of the presence of copper ions. Now so copper ions, they move towards the cathode, accept 2 electrons and form copper metal. You may either write metal or you may write atom. Fine. Now on the anode, we have a choice between sulfate and hydroxy ions. Out of the two, hydroxy happens to be down in the reactivity series. So OH will lose 1 electron and form OH. 4 such reactions will take place and 4 OH will give you 2 molecules of water and 1 molecule of oxygen. So when we have taken platinum electrodes, on the cathode, the reddish brown copper is going to deposit and here oxygen is going to be liberated from the anode. Now what observations are you going to make when the platinum electrodes are taken? The color of the electrolyte decolorizes. What do you mean by decolorizes? I told you it is blue in color because of the presence of copper ions. But because all the copper ions are slowly moving towards the cathode and the number of copper ions in the electrolyte is becoming less and less, that is why the color of the electrolyte decolorizes. It becomes lighter and then finally it disappears. Then on the cathode, the reddish brown copper metal is going to be deposited. And on the anode, the colorless gas is going to be liberated. This was when we had used platinum electrodes. Now, the same electrolyte using the copper electrodes. Now, copper happens to be an active electrode. Active electrode is the one which itself begins to participate in the process. Fine. So let's see how is the product different when the active electrode is used. Now the overall reaction here also will be the same. H2SO4 will dissociate, H2O will dissociate and copper sulfate will also dissociate. On the cathode, again we have a choice between hydrogen and copper. So copper ions, for the same reason, because they happen to be lower in the electrochemical series, they are going to accept 2 electrons and going to form copper atom or metal, whatever you want to write. So this is how copper metal is formed. So all the copper is discharging over the cathode and it is depositing over there. On the anode, both hydroxy as well as the sulfate ions move towards the anode. But before either of them can discharge over it, copper itself begins to ionize and form copper ions. Are you following? Copper metal begins to lose 2 electrons and forms copper ions. This is what is going on the anode because it has a very low reduction potential. So copper on the anode, copper loses 2 electrons and forms copper ions. Now what will happen to these copper ions? They will come into the electrolyte and from the electrolyte they will be attracted towards the cathode, and just like other ions they will also begin to discharge over the cathode. With the result, the copper of the anode keeps on ionizing and keeps on discharging over the cathode. With the result, cathode becomes thicker and this anode becomes thinner in size, and when it becomes too thin the process comes to a stop, and then we need to change this electrode, otherwise the reaction comes to a stop. Now here the solution of the color of the solution was blue earlier. Because fresh copper ions are also coming from the anode, the color of the solution continues to remain blue. So this is one major difference in the observation when this process is going on. Anyway, I'll tell you about the observations. What are the observations when copper electrodes are used? 1. The blue color of the solution remains blue. Why does it remain blue? Because the fresh copper ions are coming from the anode. Cathode gets thicker, because the ions are coming from anode and they're discharging over the cathode, so cathode becomes thicker and anode becomes thinner. Now, is there any oxygen or anything released over here? No, nothing. Now, what are the reasoning questions which are related to this? The first one is, why is the electrolyte acidified? That means, why have we added H2SO4 in the process? Now, by the addition of H2SO4, the conductivity of the electrolyte is really enhanced. It becomes very good. And another very important thing is that it prevents the hydrolysis of the electrolyte. Hydrolysis, you understand, lysis in the presence of water. The electrolyte does not break in the presence of water because of the presence of H2SO4. Then products at anode differ if electrodes are different. That means if the electrodes are different, the final product we are getting at the anode are different. Here we are getting oxygen and here we are not getting anything, only copper is getting ionized. So they are different, you will explain, I have already explained it to you. The color of the electrolyte varies at the end of the process. Why does it vary? Because here no more copper ions are being added into the electrolyte, so the blue color decolorizes. But here fresh ions of copper are added to the electrolyte, so the blue color is retained. If copper electrodes are used, they need to be replaced periodically. Why do they need to be replaced periodically? Basically, it is only the anode which needs to be replaced periodically because it becomes smaller, thinner and diminishes in size, and ultimately it becomes too thin to carry on the process. So this has to be changed from time to time. These are all important reasoning questions which can be asked out of this. So I hope you followed the electrolysis and how the products are different if the active and the inert electrodes are used. Now, having done so much about electrolysis, let's see, is this process of electrolysis useful in any way? So we are going to talk about applications of electrolysis. Where is this proper process of electrolysis actually applied, used? Now there are three main important places where electrolysis can be used: electroplating, electrorefining and electrometallurgy. Before I tell you the meaning of all these terms, let me tell you that electrolysis is a very expensive technique, and if we have a choice, we will rather not use electrolysis in any of these methods. Anyway, electroplating. The meaning of electroplating is covering of a superior metal over the inferior metal. I'll take an example. Suppose we have a piece of jewelry which is made up of, say, iron. Now, the piece of iron jewelry will not look very good. It will not look very appealing. So in order to improve the looks, what we do is we cover it over either with gold or with silver or with nickel or any such thing. Now that covering of the silver over this metal using the technique of electrolysis is known as electroplating. Plating means covering. Covering of a superior metal over the inferior metal using the technique of electrolysis is called electroplating. Then electrorefining. Refining refers to purification. Purification of the metal after it has been obtained from its ore is known as refining. If we are using the technique of electrolysis to refine the metal or purify the metal, the process is referred to as electrorefining. Then electrometallurgy. Metallurgy means the process of obtaining the metal from its ore. If we are obtaining the metal from its ore using the technique of electrolysis, it is known as electrometallurgy. So these were the three terms. Now one by one we are going to study each one of them in detail. Now the first one is electroplating. What is the reason of electroplating? Why do we need to electroplate an article? One, I have already told you, to improve the looks. Improve the looks, or you can say the aesthetic value is improved. So to improve the appearance of a baser metal or of a lesser metal by a superior metal is one reason why we do the electroplating. Another reason is also to prevent corrosion. For example, I had taken an example of iron, a piece of jewelry made up of iron. If you continue using it as a piece of iron, then it is likely to rust after a while. So in order to prevent the rusting, what we do is we just coat it or cover it with another metal. With the result, the metal inside does not corrode. So these are the two reasons why the electroplating is done. Important. Now, what are the conditions which are required for electroplating? Now, for that, I'll take an example. Suppose we have a piece of, say, spoon, which has to be covered over by, say, anything, say, nickel. Now, the conditions required are that whatever article you need to coat with another metal, that article has to be connected to the negative terminal and it has to act as a cathode. That is one thing very important. So, the article to be plated has to be used as a cathode. Whichever metal you want to coat over it, in this case, for example, say nickel. So, nickel will be connected to the positive terminal. A block of nickel will be taken and it will be connected to the anode. So, it will be used as an anode. This is very important. Another very important thing is the electrolyte. The electrolyte must contain the ions of the metal which has to be plated. That means you can take any salt of nickel, nickel sulfate, nickel nitrate, nickel phosphate, any. But it must contain nickel ions in it. That is one important condition. Now, the current should be very low. Why should the current be low? Because it gives a very even coating. And also it should be passed for a longer period of time. So low current passed for a longer period of time will result in an even coating. The electrolyte, I have told you, it must contain the ions of metal to be coated. The article should be absolutely clean. Which article? In this case, for example, say spoon, it should be absolutely clean. Like it should not have any rust or any marks over it. Now suppose there are some marks over it. When the plating will be done, it will not be even, it will be uneven because there will be a thicker coating over the marks. So article should be very clean, and for that we use hydrochloric acid, which dissolves all the impurities or the rusting or the whatever corrosion is there, that is dissolved. This process is also known as pickling of the metal. Pickling means cleaning of the metal using HCl. HCl has a property of dissolving whatever impurities are sticking over it. And then the last thing is we must use the direct current and not the alternating current. I hope you know that in the alternating current, the cycle of alternating current, it keeps on changing its direction after half a cycle. So suppose the alternating current is taken instead of the direct current. I hope you know what is the source of alternating current. What I mean to say is that if you want to plate something, you cannot just plug it into the electric board of your house, because in our houses the current coming is alternating current. So what will happen is that the coating will take place, and during the remaining half of the cycle, whatever coating has been done will again come back into the electrolyte. So coating done, coating undone, coating done and coating undone. So that means finally no coating will be done over the article. So it is not wise to take alternating current. We must have a direct current. What are the sources of direct current? It may be a battery, it may be a cell or any such thing. So we have to use direct current. These are the conditions which are required for the process of electroplating to be done. Now next time we will take more examples where the electroplating will be explained properly. In the meantime, I have given you a few questions, or a worksheet has been made out of what you have done today. Please do those questions in the way you have been doing it earlier. Alright children, have a good day. Stay safe.